Hey, today we're going to talk about the 3 most common mistakes that people that are new to the single plane swing make that I don't want you to have problems with.
What is happiness? Happiness is achievement. What's the father of achievement? Motivation. What's the mother? Encouragement. The fine golf swing is truly achievement. Man may lie, cheat, and steal for gain. But he'll never gain the golf swing. To gain the golf swing, man must work. It's work without toil. For those of us who know and love it, golf is truly happiness.
Okay, welcome to the channel today. Listen, we're going to talk about the 3 most common things that I see happen when people are trying the single plane swing. Now, remember, we've been doing this a long time. I've been teaching the single plane swing now for over 23 years. I met Norman in 1994, so this has been a long journey for me, and I've met a lot of people that get into the single plane swing and get great at it. But the people starting out sometimes make some mistakes. And I want to go through today some of the most common things that I see happen when people get excited about the single plane swing and they start rolling with it, and all of a sudden they start going, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? They start making mistakes, and sometimes they just run into problems. I want to alleviate those problems for you and make the single plane swing great for you. So one of the things that I see, first of all, is more conceptual. Here's the thing about it. We teach a system, we work off of a model, and there's a process. The first mistake that people make is they get out of process. What does that mean? Well, there's an order to the single plane swing. In other words, you have the address and grip, number 1. Then you have the backswing motion, position 1 and 2. Then you have the transition, position 3 and 4. And then we teach the swing in order. So why do we teach the swing in order? Well, here's the important part of that. We do it for a number of reasons. Number 1, if you don't get your address and grip correct from the very beginning, and you're starting out from the wrong place, it makes everything difficult to figure out, right? So that's the first mistake, is people do not work in the correct order. So if you're one of those people that's not working in the correct order or thinking through the process, you just ran out and said, okay, just put your arms out and hit balls, you may be missing out on a huge chunk of this learning process. So let's go through it, and I'll just go through the second thing now, because the first thing is just make sure you're doing it in the proper order. The second thing is just address and grip. You have to get the address and grip correct. Let me go through that. Now, if you know me and our company and how we teach address and grip, and I want to hammer this point home, because the biggest mistake that people make is they do grip and address, and you don't understand that. When I'm on our social media pages and I'm chatting with people about this swing, they talk about grip, 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 grip. You know what they never talk about? The body position before they grip, which is more important than the grip most of the time. So everybody's talking about it's in the palms, which it's not. Well, it's in the fingers, which it's not. They're talking about all these things, but they never talk about, well, from my tilted position, I create the lead arm alignment, right? They don't talk about body position. Let's get that one right. So the very first thing that you have to get right is the tilt of the body. Now, I'm going to put the club down for just a second, and I want you to see this, because the whole idea of the single plane is to simplify the golf swing. What the heck does that mean, right? What does simplify mean? Simplification of the golf swing means that we're going to make it easier to strike that golf ball at the moment of impact with a square face, speed, and direction of the club. Well, my body, I can position my body in difficult ways or complicated ways. In other words, if I don't have the right tilt, and I have to, if I'm standing straight up like this, I have to get tilt by the time I get to impact. So you can see, I can create problems for my initial starting position. So at address, what we're doing is we're putting the body in its position, which means side bend of the pelvis and torso. When we do that side bend, it puts my shoulder higher, which allows my arm to be in a full range. Notice how that's where it would be at impact. into the tilted where the shoulder is high, and when I turn, the back of the hands to the target. So I'm basically presetting my body position before I grip the club. So let's do that. Let me go ahead and get to my address. And what I do is I'll put it in my lead hand position, and I'll put it out here like this, and then I'll put my trail on. But notice I'm creating my range of motion position on my lead arm, then I'm gripping the club, and then I'm bringing my trail hand in. My point to this is you have to get the tilt of the body correct. You got to get the lead arm and club in alignment first, and then you got to bring the trail hand in, and now you're in a single plane address position where things align up. Now the most important part of this is that your hands, the way your hands are, they're oriented in a way because of my body position. Let me repeat that. My hands and arms are oriented in a way because of my body position. In other words, when I tilt, it orients my shoulder and my arm. When I tilt, it orients my trail hand into a skip the rock, non-rotational underneath position. So you'll notice that my body position, when I start with that first, allows for my hand position to fit that. Okay, that's the number 2. Number 3 is people go out there and they try the single plane swing and they don't have this correct. Ball position. And again, this is an address component, but I had a question this morning where people were saying, well, what's the right ball position? And to me, for me to explain ball position to you is difficult because it has everything to do with what club you're hitting. It has everything to do with your stance width. So let me put it this way. If you can get your ball position correct and you can get your address and grip correct, you are off to a great start, because the next thing is the proper order. All right, so let's go through these things one more time, then I'll hit a shot for you. Number 1, you must make sure that you're basically getting this done in the correct order. That's number 1, okay? You got to make sure that you're working through the process. And call our coaches. I always recommend you give our coaches a call. We'll get on the phone with you and make sure you're doing it correctly to give you feedback on this. Number 2, address and grip. You got to get the address and grip correct. And number 3, you have to make sure that you're getting the alignment and ball position correct, because you want to get off to a great start. If you're going to try the single plane swing, these are the most important things to start with. Okay, let me get you into this address and grip position. Notice the tilt of my body. And now I'm going to make a nice single plane, from a single plane address, make a nice swing. And you can see, if you start out from a great position and you return that club, it makes it so much easier to return the club to impact. Now, let me give you the bonus one, number 4, all right? What's the 4th thing that people do to get it wrong? They expect to get great results without doing the work behind it, right? People come out and they try the single plane swing, and they think now some people do. Some people get great results, but even the people that get great results, I'm always worried about those guys, because are they doing it correctly? Again, I want to leave you with this, and we'll wrap up for today. Do me a favor, and do yourself a huge favor. Sit down on a piece of paper, read through some of our material, and say, okay, what is the ideal way to match the model? What's the perfect order, which you can find from our coaches? We teach you the proper order, and then you got to go work with the coaches to get feedback on it. Thanks for joining me today for the channel. I'll see you again soon. Give me a thumbs up, click the bell icon. I'll see you in the next video.